beneath the golden shimmer of the savanna sun, a majestic leopard prowls, a creature embodied in grace, power, and stealth. Yet today, this symbol of wild purity harbors a darkness beneath its sleek fur, a grotesque tapestry of parasitic horror, a wound swollen and pulsating with countless cocoons, each harboring a parasite's relentless grip. This is no ordinary injury. It is a living nightmare, a ghastly manifestation of parasitic infestation, a hive of death that challenges the very survival of this magnificent beast. The sight alone could unsettle even the most stoic observer, as thousands of gelatinous sacs stretch the skin into an unnatural dome, glistening with infected fluid and twitching with the movement of writhing larvae inside. The air is thick with a sickly scent, fermenting flesh mingling with the unyielding presence of decay. This is the parasitic cocoon hive wound, a relentless prison crafted by nature's most insidious invaders. Leopard skin, so adaptable and tough, is not impervious to the intricate siege of parasites. This infestation begins invisibly, with a microscopic larva burrowing unnoticed beneath the fur and into the flesh. There, it initiates a process shockingly similar to a living factory. The parasites secrete substances that manipulate the leopard's immune response, slowing healing and preventing the wound from closing. Instead, the skin balloons outward as the larvae grow, each encased in a cocoon-like sac that protects it while it feeds endlessly on tissue fluids and blood. As the invasion progresses, the wound morphs into a grotesque swelling, a hive bustling with life, a perverse ecosystem thriving on the host's misery. The parasite's throbbing movements cause the leopard near constant agony, impeding its ability to hunt or rest, slowly siphoning away vitality and strength. Scientifically, this phenomenon reveals nature's ruthless efficiency. Beneath the dense canopy of a tropical jungle, where life thrives in an orchestra of vibrant green and constant motion, lurks a scene so grotesquely fascinating it haunts the mind. Here, amidst the natural symphony, we encounter a monkey, a creature seemingly resilient and agile, now mangled by nature's less glamorous hand. Its body is marred by a sinister, festering hive of parasites, a vivid nightmare etched across the flesh like a living mosaic of decay. This isn't a tale of survival, but of a slow surrender to an unrelenting biological siege. These parasites, tiny architects of agony, have excavated labyrinths beneath the monkey's skin, their colonies pulsating with grotesque life. The wound is a chalice brimming with infection, thick, blackened pus oozes through ragged openings, while swarms of minuscule invaders crawl relentlessly, their translucent bodies glistening with macabre wetness. This hive is no mere blemish. It is a battlefield where the monkey's immunity wages a desperate war against flourishing. Imagine the haunting sight of a great white whale, a majestic beast of the sea, its smooth alabaster skin shattered by an ugly, festering wound. This wound is no ordinary injury. It is a grisly cradle for a sprawling infestation of clams, creatures native to the seabed, but here, twisted into parasites on the living flesh of one of the ocean's giants. The whale, a symbol of purity and vastness, now bears a grotesque mask of clam shells, jagged and layered, clinging and burrowing. These clams, instead of quietly nestled in sand or stone, twist and multiply on the whale's exposed muscles, feeding not on plankton, but on a steady diet of flesh fluids, turning the whale into a living host and battlefield. The scene is as macabre as it is fascinating, an eerie Shakespearean drama beneath the waves where unforgiving nature and vulnerability collide. This clam infestation is a brutal example of marine parasitism gone wrong. Clams, usually harmless filter feeders, become opportunistic attackers when injuries happen, capitalizing on the whale's open wound. These mollusks latch onto the bleeding surface, their sharp shells drilling into the skin, escalating tissue damage and inviting infection. Countless tiny bivalves cluster, their shells forming a crusty armor around the wound, preventing healing as they siphon nutrients directly from the exposed flesh. Over time, this parasitic army transforms the whale's flesh into a rotten landscape, a disturbing testament to nature's indifference. The sheer scale of the infestation in the heart of the wilderness, amidst the sprawling sands and whispering grasses, there lies a story that few dare to witness, and yet one that no one can turn away from once seen. Imagine a magnificent white lion, not the golden mane of legend, but a ghostly specter bearing the purity of snow in his fur. This ethereal creature, a silent king of his domain, wears an affliction so grotesque it almost seems a nightmare given flesh. His flank is marred by a swelling mass, a barnacle-like horror, cracked and weeping, a dark theater of parasite, and flesh clinging with an unholy grip. This is no mere wound. It is a grotesque tapestry of infestation, a living monument to decay, and the merciless struggle for survival. The barnacle wound is a tumorous nest woven with alien forms. Parasites of unsettling nature burrow deep into tender tissues, feasting on his blood and growing unchecked. These parasites, unlike anything found in a simple cut or scrape, exhibit a macabre symbiosis with their host. Little eggs cluster like sinister pearls beneath the skin, each incubating larvae that will hatch into new tormentors. The lion's pain lies not only in the raw, ragged edges of the gash, but in the thrumming web of life-hungry insects that burrow, suck, and gnaw relentlessly. The skin, riddled with pustules and scabs, emits a faint but sickly sweet scent of decay, punctuated by the buzzing of flies drawn inexorably to the living feast. Beneath this repulsive facade lies a perfect storm of parasitic exploitation. Mites come crawling, microscopic architects of destruction, tunneling through the lion's epidermis to feast on cells and fluids. These mites open the door for bacteria and fungi, opportunistic invaders that breed within the necrotic flesh, turning the wound into a festering pit. Maggots, detritivores by nature, descend in swarms during the warmer hours, cleaning some of the dead tissue while simultaneously excavating living cells. It is a gruesome battlefield of competing life forms, intermingling in a sick dance of consumption where survival means exploitation. No care or comfort reaches the suffering soul, no healing balm, only the raw and relentless cycle of parasite and host locked in an eternal struggle. In the shadowed depths of the dense rainforest, where the sun fights a losing battle with the thick canopy above, a jaguar moves silently through the underbrush. But this is not the fierce, majestic predator of legend. Closer inspection reveals a grotesque wound marring its sleek, golden coat. An open, festering scar, where dark, writhing parasites have taken residence. As the camera zooms in, the raw horror becomes undeniable. The jaguar's flesh is gnawed and excavated, a living canvas for these relentless invaders. Parasites are nature's unwanted tenants, thriving at the expense of their host. In this case, the jaguar has fallen victim to a particularly brutal form of infestation. These parasites, likely botfly larvae or similar blood-feeding maggots, burrow beneath the skin, creating tunnels and cavities. The wound pulses, oozing thick, yellowish pus mixed with blood, a grim cocktail of infection and tissue decay. Each parasite is an insatiable little nightmare, consuming living flesh while their metabolic processes spew toxins directly into the jaguar's bloodstream. This isn't just agony, it's a slow and agonizing death sentence drawn in flesh. The jaguar's immune system is locked in a desperate struggle, releasing inflammatory chemicals that cause swelling and intense pain. The animal's movement is hindered, its hunting crippled, its dignity erased as it limps through the jungle, carrying the weight of infestation, both physical and psychological. The wound serves as a haunting mosaic of nature's brutal food chain, where survival is a messy business carried out in shades of gore and decay. Diving deeper into the life cycle of these parasites, their life begins when an adult insect lays eggs on the jaguar's fur or near the wound edges. Warmth and moisture trigger rapid hatching, releasing larvae that immediately seek tender flesh or the nutrient-rich blood underneath the skin's surface. The larvae wield specialized mouthparts designed to cling tightly and gnaw tunnels, avoiding the sharp defenses of the host skin cells, but not the chemical onslaught of immune responses. This subterranean journey through soft tissue underneath the shimmering white coat of this once majestic horse lies a terrifying spectacle, a festering hive, grotesquely swollen and pulsating with a sickly, buzzing life. The animal's skin, stretched taut and discolored around the wound, glistens with infection as thousands of angry bees dart ceaselessly, their buzzing a relentless, ominous drone that cuts into the quiet of the meadow like a death knell. This is no ordinary injury. It's an unholy alliance of nature's industrious killers and a fragile creature forced into their harrowing presence. The hive, grotesque in its expanse, crawls like some parasitic tumor, a living, breathing nightmare defiling the pure white canvas of the horse's coat. Bee infestation in this unusual setting represents a complex and macabre natural phenomenon. Bees, typically known for their structured hives and buzzing productivity, here embody nature's darker undercurrent as they colonize and exploit the open wound. The infestation begins with a simple queen, drawn by pheromones, and the promise of shelter in the warm, nutrient-rich tissue of the horse's injury. From this nucleus, workers